Hello, and welcome to another episode of Lifestyle Unlimited, where we believe you should live your lifestyle to an unlimited fashion. There's nothing that can slow you down. So, we're going to be talking about something today that's kind of in the recent news, which is Hurricane Ian, and how that affected the real estate market, and really how it's going to affect the real estate market going forward. So, if you live in that area, you're looking to invest in that area, how you should or should not capitalize on what's going on.
Well, look, here's the reality. And whether it's Ian or I think there was Hugo and there's all of these. Like, Julie, I know personally, I know people in the business that chase this stuff. I mean, they literally chase hurricanes from different perspectives. Some are contractors.
Yeah, roofing guys.
Yeah, or some do, they get hired on for insurance claims. Some are contractors for various utility companies. But yet, some of them are investors. And so, when you're looking at something like this, and you're now trying to say to yourself, is there an opportunity there? I think without a shadow of doubt, if I was a betting man, which I'm not, except when I go to Vegas, I would absolutely say there's opportunities. And I could tell you how I personally lived an opportunity, and you saw me an hour ago. So we got a deal in was it Fort
Myers?
Fort Myers, which I think was like epicenter of this hurricane, and it hit our house. And it did some damage. Now, it didn't destroy the house. As a matter of fact, we have people moving in there tomorrow, so it's a livable house. Now, we've already done some work on it. But I want to tell you from somebody who's in that area perspective, right? Let's say I was just a homeowner in that area. So here it is, my house gets hit, and in the end, I'm not sure how much damage, but let's just say $20,000 to $30,000 worth of damage. And you saw me take a call.
Which you can eat up 20, 30 grand easy.
Without even doing anything. And you saw me just take a call an hour ago from somebody in our office that just talked to the adjuster. Guess how much they approved the claim for?
How much?
$3,000.
There's no way all the sheetrock has to be pulled out.
I'm telling you, they approved a claim for $3,000. So let's not look at me as an investor. Let's look at me as somebody that just has one house there, maybe a rental there, right? Guess what that got me to do? Got me motivated. It got me motivated. It got me to the point of saying, wait a second. You're telling me I just got a hurricane hit smack dab into the house I bought, caused a ton of damage, and the insurance company is going to reimburse me a fraction of it. I could tell you, if I was a homeowner, a typical homeowner living in that area, or maybe somebody that's got one or two rental properties, doesn't do this for a living, and today I happen to get a postcard from somebody in the mail, right? Or today somebody calls me out of the blue, or today somebody knocks on my door and says, hey, I understand you got a house in Fort Myers. My motivation level is way higher than before this. So there's no question that there's opportunities, because what hurricanes like this or just natural disasters do is they create motivation. I mean,
well, sometimes because something like that happened, like a national disaster happened, you don't feel safe there anymore, or you're tired of the seasons coming through, right? So maybe you're rethinking living in Florida now because of this going on. It was funny, actually, last week, talking about motivation, there was this couple that was saying, like, I stopped off and had to stay at a hotel for a night, right?
Yeah.
Well, there was this couple there from Florida, and they was from, like, Rhode Island, the New England area. Well,
Okay.
their dream was to move to Florida. Like, they're in their early 70s, and they're like, we hate it down here. There's, like, yeah, it's beautiful and all this, but this stuff just happens to us over and over and over again. We put our whole retirement to move down to Florida, and I'm ready to move back. Do you know what I mean? And so, like, now they're in their 70s going, you know what, I don't know if this retire to Florida thing was as cool as we thought it was, and we're going to now lose money just because we want to go back home, let's for say.
So what happens if, let's just say, that couple gets a call out of the blue from somebody wanting to make an offer?
Oh, I know they would. Literally, if someone called them right now and made them an offer, because they need money, but they don't need money.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Right.
But
they don't need headaches.
They don't want headaches.
They don't want headaches.
No, because they're, a little bit older, and they're like, I don't want to deal with this anymore.
Yeah.
The I don't want to deal with this anymore means more than them losing 30 or 40,000. They set themselves up pretty good for retirement. So now they're just done with it. Also, insurance prices. Like, what's going to come on now as you see the new renewals coming in for Florida, it happened
Yep.
in Louisiana. Now all of a sudden their insurance was this price, and now it's this price. So your cost of living goes up because of natural disasters. So I would say absolutely there's an opportunity, because the one thing about Florida, Pete, especially Fort Myers and things, people always move to Florida. And that's not just from the U.S. People from other countries love to live in Florida.
Of course.
So I think it's a huge opportunity, because I'm sure if you were given the right price right now, after the
No question.
turmoil that you've went through, sure
question.
you'd probably take it, wouldn't you?
No question. Think about this. As real estate investors, we're in a business of helping people, getting people out of trouble, out of tight situations, but there has to be some kind of motivation. Now, if you think about it, when did COVID start? 2020?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
2020.
COVID, so if you think about it, we're almost 2023. So for 3 years, we have been in a motivated market one way or another. For the first year, we were in a COVID motivated, or a year and a half, however long that lasted. We were in a COVID motivated market. Now we're in an economy, plus there's still some semblance, I guess, of the COVID motivation. Now we're in an economy, and so what does something like an Ian or any kind of hurricane does? It creates motivation.
Well, you only feel like you can get beat up for so long. Like even for me, if I feel like I'm just getting beat up and beat up and beat up and beat up, before long, you're just like, I'm kind of done with this.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm kind of done with this. The biggest thing that you've got to watch, though, is even if there is an opportunity in an area like that, you don't want to be a jerk, right? Like if I'm looking, okay, so now like maybe I might start working in Tampa or Fort Myers. I'm not going there the first month, and people are still going through it. I'm not, because then it looks like you're trying to do that, right? Also, time hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
Like even this was however many weeks ago. You're just now figuring out what the insurance company is going to do.
Right.
So
Takes
a
time.
lot of people are sitting there, they just don't know what's next. And not everybody's got the money to go stay in a hotel when something like that happens. They've
Right.
got to start fixing their homes on their own for health reasons. I mean, water is the most powerful thing in the universe.
Yeah, more powerful than fire, by the way.
It's the most powerful thing. It's also the most destructive thing. So leaving water in your house is just setting you up for mold, especially in a humid environment like that, like this house you're talking about. You had to pull the sheetrock out because literally it is unhealthy for people to be in there.
That's right.
So you're doing that on your own. Like maybe people down there, they're doing it on their
Right.
own just so they're looking, but insurance companies don't care about that. They're like, oh, you already did this work. We're not going to pay for it.
Well, and you're talking about timing. The crazy thing is, and we were just talking to office, FEMA hadn't even started helping yet. And it's been how long? A month now?
Yeah.
It's been a month, and I thought like the government's supposed to provide like emergency spot on help, and they're still just taking applications. So you're right. I think the timing is very important. And let's face it. Let's kind of like you could flip it on the other side. We got very little money compared to what we thought we were going to get. But here's where else motivation comes in. What if you got more than you thought you're going to get? Well, that's also motivation.
Well, yeah, because they're like, why put this money into the
No
house
question.
if I could keep this money and sell it? A lot of times people are just better off not fixing it, selling it as is, taking
No
the
question.
insurance money and the proceeds from the house. It happens in fire too.
Well, there's no question. So it's like you got both sides of the motivation. You got the guy that got underpaid, and then you also got the guy overpaid. You're right.
Or got what they deserved.
Or they got what they deserved. Or it could be overpaid. I mean, some people are probably going to get overpaid for, depending on how bad their thing is. Or think about it, if you have no mortgage on that house, right? Let's say you've lived in a house for 50 years, you got zero mortgage, right? It gets destroyed in a hurricane or some other natural disaster, and somebody comes in and gives you $500,000 for it. Like, well,
Peace.
maybe it's not.
I could be happy anywhere forever.
That's right.
You know what
I mean, like that is like creating, that's like the timing and opportunity being created. So I think, as people are looking at the situation, whether it's an Ian hurricane or other disasters that
Or
happen.
like fires in California
Well,
too.
that's exactly
After a
right.
while, when you're constantly stressed out about is like the fire, that would get on me after a while. I mean, you can only be scared and nervous for so long before you're just like, I don't know if the worth is worth the gain, or the gain is worth the risk.
Well, there's no question. So I think if you were just to make like a blanket statement across the board, I think there's no question that when these things happen, it creates motivation in the areas that this happen in, which creates motivated sellers, which is an opportunity for us as investors. So am I the person that's going to chase the stuff? No, only because I don't want to chase things. You know what I mean? But if you happen to live nearby, if you happen to live there, if you don't mind to going across the state border somewhere else, I think there's no question there is going to be opportunities, and there is already opportunities in these kind of areas.
Yep. Absolutely. I think it's just handling these opportunities the right way.
No
right?
question.
And I believe if you truly always are looking out for someone else's well-being, and you're not looking to just you always win, you'll find the right way to handle it,
100%.